Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Seek Outside podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 10th, and thank you guys for joining us. We got a fun episode today. We are actually not going to be having a guest on. What we're going to be doing for these next two episodes are very Seek Outside related. So these are going to be the ones that we're going to do today is primarily about picking the proper hot tent, some hot tent tips and tricks. And then the next one is going to be more backpacking related. So
we're gonna bomb you with information.
Yeah, state sponsored media. That's what this is right now. A lot of propaganda. But
Yes, propaganda.
No, just hopefully it's something that you can listen to. When you're driving back from your trips. Maybe you're thinking of maybe at a cold, chilly night, and you're like, "Man, this is gonna be the year where I switch over to a hot tent." What are you playing with that for?
I don't know. Well,
it's very loud.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
For those that don't know me, I'm a very fidgety person.
There we go. No, that thing.
Like that, one of our coworkers has a slinky in their office. Yeah. And I've been banned.
Abusing it. Yeah.
I've been banned.
That thing, I've seen you, because you've been messing with that for a long time. Yeah. That's a tripod. But I was like, man, you could almost use that for, I think we got that for what, like the gimbal, the camera gimbal or something like that? Because it's got a hook up there. You could almost hook up your gun. You could almost use that as like a mini tripod for your gun.
If you were Ant-Man.
Maybe.
Let's see.
But then...
oh, God. If you were Ant-Man, you could use this as a bipod. That low.
A tripod.
Tripod.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe just for like the range. But when I saw you playing with that, it gave me the idea. I was like, I wonder if they make any of those like bendable tripods, that they have for the cameras that you can like stick onto a rock or something like that.
That would be terrible.
They got to make that for a rifle though.
That would be terrible.
I think it would be sick. You just hook it up to like a tree or something. You just click it on there. Boom. Smash the whiteboard.
As you say, I'm loud.
Yeah. Well, you back to playing with it.
Yeah, I got it back.
Let's put it down there.
It could be a cool fidget spinner, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to be talking hot tents today. But first, the first thing that we got to get onto is the last DST tarp giveaway.
Oh, man. I didn't even win one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's not for employees there. Darn. We got plenty that we can take out. So maybe next time.
I was commenting from the Seek Outside account. I never got drawn.
I know.
It's kind of bullshit.
Rigged.
Yeah.
Rigged.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys for playing. We appreciate you guys for commenting, getting this podcast up off the ground. Seems like there's more and more views every episode. So, and that was kind of the goal with the comments is to, kind of help it get off the ground, the YouTube version. So we appreciate you guys. And it's awesome to see the comments and, it's just fun. It's like the same people commenting every time. So it's like a little, it's like we're just all chatting here. So appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys keep doing it, keep watching. If not, we're going to find out that there's a bunch of like just people in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, just coming by just for the DST.
Yeah. Maybe we just are putting them through torture having to listen to this for a couple hours but they're putting up with it just to get their chance at a DST.
That is true.
So we'll find out. Anyway, without further ado, thank you guys for subscribing and commenting, but let's get on to the last DST drawing of the year.
Of 2025. You never know, could come back in 2026.
Yep.
We could even start doing, we could start giving away things on the podcast again. Mm-hmm. Like Ryan gave away his truck last year on the podcast.
Yep.
Now, is that something you want?
Probably not. That's why they returned it. It's actually a podcast trivia giveaway, and They got it. They saw the condition it was in, and they sent it right back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were like, it smells like dog, elk, and it's got dents.
yeah, it's got a few dents.
It's
in it.
missing a window in the top.
The topper. I had somebody break in. You know, side tangent here. That pissed me off. That still pisses me off every time I look at it, because I took my truck to the wash to get a car wash yesterday. So basically, last year I parked my truck at a park and ride, and
Was it the Clifton one?
no, it was just right off of 6 and 50, like right by the dump here in Grand Junction.
Oh,
seems like
that one.
Seems like lots of people ride share from there. It's a common spot to park your car. Well, we get back, and I was gone for like 2.5 hours, from like 6 to like maybe 9. And get back, truck's the last one in the parking lot, and somebody had opened their beer bottles with like the trim on the topper. So like that, they didn't try to break in. They literally were just freaking assholes. Broke the passenger side window and the topper.
Yeah.
And because that topper is so old and it's like a custom window, is going to cost like so much to repair the window. So I just threw it in through duct tape, but it's like, or Gorilla Tape on there, but it's like, it's like,
annoying.
Yeah. This is like, what an asshole.
I was like, dude, I got my Yeti stolen. We went on that big hike up high. Yeah. Sucked.
Yeah.
And then got back to the car. We had a piece of chocolate cake and some bubble waters in there. So stoked. We were starved. We didn't bring enough food or water. Get back. My Yeti's gone.
Yeah.
Who does that?
It's a good way to make a living, though. Stealing.
I'm going to start stealing.
Yeah. Stealing from trucks during hunting season.
You better make sure I don't repo one of your guys' tents out in the field this year.
Oh, one more side tangent that I got to... Well, actually, no. I'll save that for after the DST. Because that's a funny story. But all right, let's do this drawing here. So we had how many comments did we have? We had 80 comments at the time of recording this, and I am gonna hit the random number generator and see who wins.
And it's gonna be 42.
Not too far off. It was 34.
Really?
Yeah. So right in the middle. Bear with us. The final winner of the DST drawing for the fall YouTube giveaway is Jacob Gustamente 9759 with the comment, for someone who is obsessed with getting close to animals, I really need to get in on the archery game. You won. Congrats, putting in that work, commenting 10 times every episode. Winner chicken dinner. Thank you.
And you know the drill. Email us at podcast@seekoutside.com.
Hit us up.
Or DM us on Instagram.
Either way.
Or come into the shop.
Could do that.
Or fax us.
Do we even have a fax machine?
No.
All right. So don't fax us. We will not receive it. That is crazy that faxing used to be like the way people communicated.
I don't even know what a fax is, to be honest.
Basically, like you just print something. It's like a text message, but with actual paper. You type something up, scan it,
goes over.
Yeah, fax it over. It's crazy.
Could think of a few things to fax over to some people.
Some fax machine.
Sexting? Fax machines texting.
Faxting. That's funny. Yeah, that would be crazy. I'm sure somebody did it.
Dude,
at
it's
some
definitely
point.
been done.
Oh, 100%.
There's no way it's not been done.
Yeah, had to have. All right. We're going to get to the hot tent. We're going to kind of cover some other things before we get into the hot tents, but stay with us. Thank you guys for joining.
Welcome to the Seek Outside podcast.
And then you think that's bad? So you're Ryan on the phone in the office.
Some people are just wired that way.
I will say there is nothing better than freaking like getting some tasty jams going when you're driving to your hunting spot. Like
Your
I'm not
hang
a
spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big like music. I don't throw music on every drive. You know,
Yeah.
I'll throw on the radio or whatever. But when I'm going hunting early in the morning, 4:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. coffee.
Jam some tunes.
Yeah, gas
Nice.
station coffee
Ooh.
and some tasty jams.
Ooh. Gross.
Come on, you miss gas station coffee.
Gross.
You
Yeah,
do.
I do.
You
I do.
Some donuts, some Hostess.
Fuck, those are nasty.
They are. But
We had the little Debbies in the shop. Those were nasty enough.
I know. But man, I got some for this past weekend.
Fire.
Some zebra rolls. It's
Yeah.
like they don't make the zebra cakes anymore. They're all zebra rolls. And
Yeah.
if I eat one of those like in society, I feel like crap afterwards. But if you eat one while you're out there and you just need like a sugar calorie carb boost, they're pretty good.
There's a thing about that. Yeah, like I was this weekend, did like big day on the mountain bike, and started off with an Almond Joy
Mm-hmm.
on my way up, then
Mhm.
ate a bag of peanut M&Ms,
Mhm.
and then finished it off with a bag of gummy bears.
Perfect food.
But you feel like healthy when you're eating it like that.
Yeah.
But if you just eat that in the car and you're just like, I'm just sedentary for the day, you're scum of the earth.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
That is interesting because I think that's the health, like the fitness bar industry or whatever. They got us tricked because they make those little energy gummies. The
Oh,
Power
yeah.
Bar.
Yeah.
Those can't be too different from
No,
a thing of Sour Patch Kids.
they're terrible for you.
Yeah.
It's just carbohydrates, crappy materials.
Yeah.
Like, I think the biggest, like, thinking a Cliff Bar is healthy for you is hilarious.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and the funniest one is like the Honey Stinger waffles.
Oh, yeah. You're like, oh, these are better than eating like a candy bar.
Yeah.
No.
But like it's just the packaging because you go
Yeah.
to the store and if you were to get like one of the Stroop waffles that are the exact same thing,
Yeah.
but it's packaged more like a candy or a dessert, you're like, nah, that's not as healthy for me. This is what I need for energy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is funny how, like, I think a Coke is a better thing to drink after physically exerting yourself than a Gatorade because of
Probably.
the sodium.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Now, I can't drink a Coke, but
You would if you could.
I do miss, I used to, a nice Coke, Mexican Coke,
Mm-hmm.
after a hard day.
Oh, man.
Does smack.
Nothing better.
Crisp.
Nothing better.
Crisp.
Yeah. Well, we're rolling here.
Yeah.
I
Just
guess.
get into it.
Yeah. Maybe actually. So
Just get into what
Before-
you did this week.
yeah, before we get into the
Preface
hot tents,
it.
I do want to talk about a couple things. Yeah. Number one, funny story from the weekend. So I was hunting. Got out for archery elk the first time this weekend. Fun, just a weekend warrior trip. Next,
He didn't see anything.
that's a lie.
Don't listen to him.
Got into him. All right.
He was down. He was on the plains of Denver.
Yeah,
He
that
didn't
is
see an
true.
elk.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yep.
was nothing.
No elk. No, just a little weekend warrior trip with my buddy. Got down there, late. It was more just kind of figuring out the area for when I go back next week for the big trip. But, so we're doing a good amount of driving around. It's always cool. Like I know you've talked about it before, but you see like seek outside tents in the wild.
Yeah.
It's just like it's great. Because you're like, oh, maybe I've like talked to that person on the phone and they're hunting in the same area that I am or
Yeah.
whatever. So this weekend, talked to a couple people that had seek outside teepees and stuff like that. But the funny part was, so we were driving down this road, and I see a Cimarron just pitched. It's probably noon.
What if it's a podcast listener?
It could be, and that's
So
where
you
I'm
gotta
going
be
here.
careful. You can't roast too hard because I know the story.
Well, I'm not going to roast them. It's just factual. But so we see this Cimarron set up, and I'm like, oh, it's 2.0. It's got like the new guy out. So it's like, that's sick. And I was actually like impressed with how it was pitched because it was perfectly tight, no witch hatting,
Looked
nothing
nice.
like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, sweet. And I get closer to it. I'm like, oh, why is the cone white? And we kind of pulled over and stopped, and I realized that the tent was set up inside out. And, the big giveaway there was the white cone, because it's supposed to be black on the outside. It's white on the inside.
Yep.
And then he had the vent, or they had the vent. And this is the only reason I bring it up, because it's important. He had the vent, right, which is usually to allow air to flow through there. That thing was totally exposed, and it was just the mesh on the outside.
Yeah.
And it had rained hard the day before, and there was more rain coming in. So I had a business card in my truck, and I wrote it down. I was like, "Hey, you got it inside out. Good luck, though." And I kind of just slipped it under the door, because I didn't want him to, he probably had his sleeping, he probably had some
Sleep
clothes and
bag,
stuff.
all that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want him to get all wet in there. So told him to turn it inside out. But so if you are a listener, sorry about that. I was trying to help you out. But it was a very good pitch. I've seen a lot worse pitches on Tipis. So compliment sandwich there for you.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, it was fun. We did get into some elk. It was awesome country. And
I think we should start a repo business.
a repo business. Yeah.
Like a seek outside tent repo.
Yeah. I was thinking about being like the seek outside auditor,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if some guy,
You just walk around, talk shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, if somebody, because one of the first guy that I was talking to, he was like, yeah, I was up in, he was up backpacked in, and he was there before everybody else. And then some people came into the area, and they like pitched their tent, their teepee, their seek outside teepee in the middle of the meadow where he was like seeing elk.
Really?
I was like, that could be a job for the seek outside auditors to go up and be like, hey, be responsible. Don't be scaring elk away.
Could be a listener again.
Could be. Hey, well,
Could be talking too much shit, Ryan.
don't pitch your tent in the middle of elk country. If you see fresh elk sign right there, just back out a little bit.
It's true. Like, I feel like elk aren't as far off the trail as you think most of the time.
They're really not. They're really
No.
not.
No. Everybody's like, yeah, you gotta go 10 miles deep. Maybe to find like the real big ones and stuff. But
Yeah.
me, not a professional trophy hunter.
Yeah. It was funny because we were in this one spot. We got to our initial spot, and there was a bunch of trucks there, and you could tell this kind of drainage was being hunted a lot. And but it kind of, it's like this big mountain, right? There's like a 14,000 foot mountain right there. And we ended up in a spot where we could look at that basin from a long ways away. We knew that there were guys hunting in this basin, but we were glassing up at the top of the mountain, and all the way up at like 13,000 feet, there was like a big herd of elk just where nobody could touch them. Just, you could tell they were probably just looking down at all the camps and being like, yeah, come get you some.
13K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come get you some, man.
No thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my weekend. I did want to talk about your weekend too before we get into hot tents, because our last episode, the rifle caliber battle, I was happy to see a lot of the comments kind of agreed with us. It was like shot placement over caliber, right?
No, you need a 50 cal. That's why I just sold all my guns, bought a Barrett 50 cal.
Mm-hmm. Call of Duty gun.
Yeah, and I will be hiking that into the backcountry this year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
1,000-yard shots,
Yeah.
no problem.
Armor piercing, bullet,
Yeah.
incendiary rounds.
Need that for those elk, man.
So you just cook the ribs instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little pre-cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you have a new rifle that you're breaking in, right?
Yep.
Explain to us your process, because when you first got it, I think that you were a little, it just wasn't shooting as well as you were hoping.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got it dialed now.
Yep.
So explain kind of what the process there was, what you had to do, what was wrong, all that stuff.
I got a nice new rifle, expensive rifle, chambered in 300 Win Mag after I just told everybody you don't need a big gun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a massive cannon. But I got this rifle. It's a Browning. Put a nice scope on it as well. Took it out to the range, and I shot 10, like out, like just out in BLM land, like when I first got it, shooting like okay groups, you know, like within a minute and a half, so like an inch and a half and 100 yards, 2 inches. You know, chalk that up to the shooter. But then I went out to the range again with you. I had a couple boxes of ammo. Was gonna like test some stuff. Shooting everywhere.
Mhm.
I was like, this is insane. Gun was, I mean, like groups would be like 8 inches
Mhm.
at like 100 yards. Like I would shoot 2 shots. They'd be real close to each other. Next shot would be 8 inches to the left.
Mhm.
Right.
And you would like adjust your scope.
Yeah. I would adjust my scope. I'd be like, all right, what is going on? Like, let's say maybe those 2 shots were consistently an inch to the right. I click it over 3 clicks to the left, and I'm 8 inches to the left now. So I'm pretty much baffled. I'm like, man, either the person who mounted my scope messed something up, this rifle's crazy, or the shooter is really, really out of practice. So I took a few steps. Number one, I went and spent like $100 on a nice inch-pound torque wrench.
Mhm.
And I just remounted the whole scope by myself.
Mhm.
I got it level, all the things, and I will be doing that from now on, because the base mounts that screw into the receiver on the rifle were like loose.
Mhm.
Like some, they were, you know, there was like 2 that were tight, but like some of the screws were just genuinely loose. Which after, I don't know, I probably shot 30 rounds. I wouldn't think 30 rounds would loosen up bolts.
Yeah.
So they were incorrectly tightened. And then the scope rings were too tight, I'm pretty sure. A little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to like tell, but definitely like off the hand gauge. So anyways, did that. Took it out to the rifle range again. A little better. I was still like had some flyers. You know, I didn't know really what was going on, but I'd bought a few boxes of ammo, and I only had like 3 or, you know, a couple rounds in each box. So it was like hard to kind of get a gauge on true accuracy, because I'd be like shooting, you know, maybe it'd be a mix of rounds. So went and bought myself some 200 grain ELDXs.
Mhm.
Tiny bullets. Couldn't kill an elk with those. And watch some YouTube videos. Try to get in better practice as a shooter as well. I used to be a really good shot, but I don't shoot as much anymore. Did some like trigger dry fire exercises at the house. Even watched a Brady Miller video on how to shoot better. See if there's something I was forgetting. And then went back out to the range, practice all these things. But one tip I had heard was that parallax on your scope is not always correct for each person.
Mhm.
Or like each, like a lot of the scopes you'll see like 100 yards, 150, 200, 300, 400, 500, infinity. And that parallax isn't always correct. And in my case, it wasn't.
Mhm.
So parallax is like the reticle can move a little bit when you adjust your face, which can also open your groups up.
Mhm.
So now I had I did a bunch of tests, figured out, you know, like at 200 yards, I needed to be at 300 on my scope, and so on and so forth. So they were off. I have all those written down now. So then I started shooting. I had all the same ammo. I was in much better practice, much better trigger control.
Mhm.
Instead of like letting off the trigger, which they call booger flicking, I was pulling the trigger all the way back, way better follow through all that stuff. Boom. 1/2-inch groups
Mhm.
at 200 yards.
Mhm.
Or not 1/2-inch groups, like inch-size groups, 1/2 minute of angle groups, 200 yards. Clinking steel out to 550, 600 yards. Just all of these things that I was like, man, I'm either a terrible shot, which I would shoot my other gun and shoot fine. I'm either a terrible shot, something's messed up with the gun, ammo's wrong, something's messed up. But now we're dialed.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a really good feeling. It's been quite a few rounds, you know, breaking the gun into.
Mhm.
Probably got 100 rounds through it.
Yeah.
Which is not a cheap endeavor.
Yeah.
But now I think I only need 1 more range day. Maybe 1.5 more range days before rifle season.
Be
And I'll
good
feel
to
like
go.
real confident.
Yeah.
You know, I got a new turret on the way too.
Custom turret.
Custom turret.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm just
Well,
stoked.
I think it's a good lesson for everybody, you know. I mean, because just when I was at the range with you, I feel like you were ready to just sell that whole thing. And it was like,
Yeah.
like you're going, because you had shot like a certain type of gun for a lot of your life, right? And then you're going to a different one.
Yeah.
You also had this new scope, new ammo. There's like a bunch of different factors. So sometimes it just takes some time to dial it in.
It was a little bit of just different platform. I've had parallax on scopes before. Like I've had a Vortex with parallax, and it must have been correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, a little bit going to a new platform. Like I've shot Tikas my whole life. I have 7 Rem Mag Tika, 270, 30, 308. You know, like just so many Tikas because they're such a good gun. The triggers are like a match trigger on those things. It's one of the best triggers you can get out of a factory gun, best action. So I think, it was a lot of changes going to a new rifle. This trigger isn't as light as well. So I think there was a lot of adjustment to that. And then figuring out that parallax can be wrong for people.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth working at. It can be a frustrating process, but
yeah,
you were right. I mean, new gun, got to get used to it. Got to just check all your boxes before you say this thing's trash.
Yeah. I think the tendency...
That being said, all my other guns I never had to figure out, but then again, the scopes were mounted correctly and all this stuff. So I didn't have that frustrating period.
Yeah.
Of like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Well, I think it does take time.
Yeah.
To dial it in, because
all that being said, the Browning's a real nice gun.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely like some creature comforts that most Tikas do not have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's hard to beat the Tika action and Tika trigger, but this adjustable stock and stuff, the 60-degree bolt pull, I'm pretty sure, like the shorter throw bolt, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
There's some definitely, and the being able to function the bolt without taking it off of safety, that's pretty nice too.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely some nice creature comforts going to a more feature-rich gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the tendency is to think that, just because you're spending a bunch of money on this stuff, that it should be perfect out of the gate. That's not always.
Dude,
like you even think about it with Seek Outside tents, right?
Yeah.
Like people, they're expensive tents. A teepee is just something, no matter, unless it's a freestanding tent where the structure is built in at the factory. It's going to take some time to figure it out, right? It's going to take some time to figure out how to pitch it right. And like, oh, okay, well, the liners, that's usually a necessity when condensation is high.
Yeah.
It's like, I think just because you pay money for something doesn't mean that it's, like, a lot of that stuff has a learning curve, or you can't get into the mindset of like, oh, it's going to be perfect out of the gate just because I spent X amount of money. Like, it's like that with like bows, right? I mean, it takes time to dial in your arrows, dial in your sights. Sometimes just the way your body works, it's different from what you were using previously. So,
man, I mean, I've had a Tika retails are like $700. You know, like it's not an insanely expensive gun, but I've shot guns that are $3,000, $2,500 that don't shoot as well, or like just take so much more getting used to, so much different. Like, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, dude. Speaking on, just to finish off my little gun thing here, my buddy I went shooting with has a Savage Axis 30-06. And
like a $500 gun, right?
$400.
Yeah,
I think you can get it for $500 with a scope mounted from the factory. $400 gun. He's shot not a ton. Like I'm doing my first season elk hunt with him, and we've never hunted together. So, and he's not done a ton of like big game hunting in his life. So I was like, man, you never know. And he goes out. He is just a killer.
Ringing.
Dude, Savage Axis, left-hander. He's a left-hand shooter. He's smoking stuff at 400 yards. Just 3x9 loophole scope on there. And it really does bring up, you don't have to spend like a ton of cash on a gun. Yeah. To like, I feel like in that $600 to $1,000 range, you're getting the best. Anything after is diminishing, like the returns are lesser and lesser.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything lower, you're chancing a worser quality for sure.
I mean,
but I was impressed. I was like, this is a sweet gun, dude. Like,
yeah,
because I've been wanting to get like a 223. I'm like, man, should I just go grab like a cheap ass Savage or Ruger and just bolt action 223 and just turn that in my little long range gun?
Yeah. I mean, might as well. I will say, like, with that, there's definitely certain companies that are like, and you do, like, there's certain, like, Savage is known for making, Savage and Ruger, I feel like, are known for, like, their lower end guns being like super good. I'd say like the Tikka, the Bergera, they're kind of that upper low, kind of that mid range price.
Yeah, it's just a mid range gun.
Yeah,
but the Bergera and Tikka are pretty well known rifles.
Yeah,
I think the Bergera has a lesser rap at the moment, but the Tikka's, nobody's ever ratted on a Tikka.
No,
they're like, oh, the plastic stock. It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, people are building the nicest, like, action rifles just with a Tikka action.
Yeah.
And the stock Tikka trigger, dude. It's crazy.
I feel like I think that's kind of the best price range there. $500 to $700. As long as you get or $500 to $800. As long as you go with a solid brand. Because you do get, you go to the store and you try out some of those cheaper ones, and some of them, you pick it up, like some of the, I shouldn't name brands, but like there's some that you pick up and you pull the bolt up and you're like, oh God, this just feels like it's just crappy. I'm not
going to say that Axis's action was a buttery smooth, but for you just want a gun to hunt with?
Yeah, pop it in there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, he was shooting like, minute angle groups, and that's about all you can ask out of a hunting rifle.
Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yapping about guns yet again. Let's yap about tents.
Let's do it. What do you
want to yap about?
Yeah, so a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, we did a ultimate hunting hot tent or ultimate hot tent deep dive. That was 4 years ago. We got a lot more tents, a lot of different tents, a lot of accessories, different stove accessories, different, floor systems. So
are we deep diving on a subject? We're just deep diving into hot tents in general?
I think just hot tents in general. This is like for people that are, maybe just need that extra push over the edge for what they want to. So I think today what we're kind of going to go over is some of the different models, the different sizes, why you might need a certain size, some of the accessories that we enjoy,
Yeah.
And then some tips and tricks like, what season, if you're taking something out for 4th season mule deer here in Colorado, it's going to be a lot different than, first season
horse archery or any of that stuff.
Yep. So,
and everything's going to be, I think when we talk about everything, it's going to be very specific to us, not other hot tent manufacturers.
Definitely. So I'll start this up. So you're looking to get a hot tent. You're looking specifically to get a hunting hot tent.
Where do you start?
Yeah. So
let's say you need to name. A customer calls in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're asking us. There's 3 criteria, 3 or 4 criteria. I feel like you need to explain, and that's how you're gonna define your correct tent. What are those? What are those 3 or 4 things?
Yeah. So the 3 questions that I always ask people when they're like they come in kind of blind.
Yeah.
It's always, where are you going? What time of year? And how many people?
And I'll add my 4th is, what are you used to camping in?
That's a good one. Yeah. That is a good one. Yeah.
Because if you're, what are you used to? Is it wall tents, or are you used to little coffin tents?
Yeah. That's a very good point, because, and same with with weight, right? I mean, if you're coming from a if you're backpacking, if you're a big backpack hunter and you have typically been running a 7-pound, like 2 or 3 person half dome shelter, right? And you want to go with a hot tent for that same exact weight, you can get a 4-person teepee like the Cimarron, with a stove and a liner, and maybe even a floor for that matter.
Floor is probably pushing it, but yeah, you can have a stove in your tent for the same weight.
Have a stove in your tent for the same weight, and probably going to be packed down to about the same size.
Now, if you're one of the guys who just runs a DST, even in second or third rifle season here in Colorado, it's going to be heavy.
Yeah, you probably want to go with something Dyneema.
Yeah,
because
you want to go as light as
else.
possible.
Yeah.
So it's good to know like the background the person's from.
Yeah.
Or are you a beginner? That's going to help. Let's talk about accessories, right? Like, if you're a beginner, floorless is more of a daunting task, right? And that's why you may want to look for something with a floor, and then you can try it without, but you aren't like stuck with a floorless tent if you decide you hate it.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start off with time of year.
Time of year. Yeah.
Okay. So right now, September, archery season. So actually maybe we'll do this. We'll give a few different scenarios. So you're a solo archery hunter that wants to go as light as possible, but you want the option to have a stove, but maybe like sometimes depending on the weather, you don't want to take a stove, but you want that option. You're not super concerned with weight. I mean, you're looking to keep it in the, under 4 or 5 pounds range. What are some of the options there?
I mean, you got your Silex. It's going to be, if you're a solo guy, that's lightest option. Can run a stove in there. Other accessories like a nest, if you want to run it in like earlier season. You got your Guardian. That's going to be your bigger option for like a single to 2-person hot tent capable tent. I mean, and I guess you could probably bump up to the Cimarron too. Yeah. Like you have those are 3 shelters that all can run a stove pretty easily. Yeah.
And so these shelters are, I would say, like, we don't have many like 3-season shelters. Primarily all of them are going to be 4-season. The only 3-season would maybe be the Sunlight used to be, and it's a 4-season, but we call it a 3-season because it's not hot tent capable. Probably doesn't have as many guy outs. But so like the Silex, Guardian, trekking pole style shelters. These are perfect for this time of year. Yeah. And like especially this archery season, like down here it goes to the end of September. Up into Montana it goes to like the 15th of October or some into October.
But all totally doable weather ranges.
Yeah.
And you got to think, the warmer it is outside, the less gear you're taking generally, at least in my experience. The less, room you're taking up inside the shelter. So you can really get away with that 1-person, like the Silex, for a long time. I mean, you could even, the Silex, when we size our shelters, you take it from a backpacking standpoint. If you're coming from backpacking and you go sleep in a 3-person REI dome tent, the Guardian is going to feel bigger as a 2-person. That's why we kind of have the Silexes, we call it XL, 1P XL. Guardian, 2P XL, because they're big.
And you're factoring in the gear. Yeah. We're like, what's the point if you can't throw your backpack in there?
Yeah, and we aren't talking just a slim sleeping pad either. We're talking 2 25-inch pads.
Yeah.
Not 2 guys. 2 25-inch pads with room to spare, and not like when we're talking about a 2-person, not 2 20-inch pads right up against each other. Yeah.
Like reasonable sizing.
Reasonable space.
But these shelters, the Guardian and Silex, are great for all year round shelters for like if you're a big backpacker because of the accessory options. So like the nest, right? So Silex and Guardian can't run them with a nest and a stove, but you can run either or. So like, summertime, early September, whatever, might be some bugs, some black flies hanging out. Yep. You take that nest. maybe you're going out opening weekend and then you're going to go back later in September. Well, you get a chance of snow in the forecast, or going to be really cold, or maybe where you're going there's a lot of wet stuff that you got to be rolling around in. You want something to dry off with. You take the stove and throw like a little Tyvek sheet in there. You're good to go. Same thing with the Guardian.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about the Nest in the Silex and Guardian is they do nearly make it a 4-season shelter without the stove as well, because they have a DWR nylon that goes around. They aren't just mesh, so they're designed to block drafts, and they're also designed to block condensation. So you do have like mesh paneling for the summer to get some airflow if you want to open your doors and stuff. But in the wintertime, those nests do provide some level of warmth because they're stopping drafts and moisture and that stuff. So they're making it like a 3.7 season tent, nearly a 4-season tent without the stove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we get pictures of people taking those out in the middle of winter and it gets snow, and the Guardian's got a bunch of guy outs on it so that you can kind of add a little bit of stability there.
It's got the same amount of guy outs as the Silex.
Well, I guess but the guy outs are like more reinforced, the side guy out is an actual triangle instead of just sewn into the seam.
The Guardian's a cool tent. I wouldn't say it's an underrated tent, but it is, if it's 1 to 2 people and you're worried about weight, you want to be able to run a stove, you want one tent that's going to do it all, that's probably what I'm going to choose. At least like if I was going to buy one, that's going to be for one as a hot tent capable for the season. And I do love to go winter camping, but in my own time, that's like 2% of the camping I do, right? Yeah. So if I'm buying one tent that's going to do everything for me, Guardian, Nest, medium stove, that's going to do every season for me. I can run it for moto, backpacking. I've done it multiple times. That was what I've been running for a long time, is the Guardian with the Nest for all that stuff. Because I like a lot of room.
Yeah.
But then I go into, let's say you and me want to go either spring bear hunting, lightweight, or just like a couple days, first rifle. We can sleep in a Guardian together with a stove pretty easily, and it not be like 2 dudes in a 2-person tent. Like it's still plenty of room, if you don't hate your hunting partner.
Yeah. Well, and it's it's kind of it's a minimalist 2-person tent. But it is a 2-person hot tent for sure.
Yeah,
like 100%.
At a very lightweight, like that with a medium U-turn it's 33 ounces plus, basically
22,
64 ounces. And if you want to do the math for me, that's 4 pounds. Yeah. 4 pounds with the stovepipe, tent, stakes, and you using your own trekking poles.
Yeah. In the Silex, you get a 1-person hot tent for under 3 pounds.
Yeah, because you can do
17 ounces, and then plus the medium stove, medium standard or medium U-turn, it's still under 3.
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy because I go out with guys who don't have our tents. I'm a dome tent guy. That's what they say. And they're carrying around 4 or 5 pounds for a 1 or 2-person tent.
Yeah.
At times. And that's not all dome tents. There's lighter dome tents out there too. But just like your run-of-the-mill guy maybe running a 4 or 5 pound tent without a stove, without like those luxuries,
That's the benefit of floorless, right? I mean, that's one of the big benefits is you save a lot of weight.
You get more space for less weight.
Yeah. And I will say, like, one of the big, objections, if you will, if you want to talk sales lingo that people have to floorless shelters is, the concept of not having a floor and water, right? So like you think of like when it rains and you have a floorless shelter, oh, well, it's, the ground is going to get wet underneath there. And it's like, yes, there are certain circumstances if you're pitched in certain spots that, if it's coming down for a while, you can get water flowing through there. But I'm always shocked at like how little water gets in. Like if you're pitched on grass where the terrain is like, if you're pitched on like a piece of like like almost like a tent pad or something like that, where it's rock underneath, and then there might be a little dirt. You're probably going to have some because the water is going to build up. But if you're pitched on grass with like, you know, the classic, you know, kind of bunches and clumps, you like, unless it rains biblically, you're usually not going to get water running underneath there.
I mean, even if you're on a very hard surface in a low point, like it has to rain a lot for water to get under there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's here's a good example. I took my sunlight out up local last year with Connor. I rode my moto up. He took his truck, so he had his Redcliff. Now we set up in just the stupidest spot, low point, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. It rained so hard, and then it turned to hail, where there was like 2 or 3 inches of hail on the ground, like where it snowed. So it was like pretty floody, you know.
Yeah.
Connor's tent, river, we had to dig a trench through.
Yeah.
And then my tent, my sunlight, there's so much water underneath, even though there's a floor, so much water underneath. It was a lot harder to actually like get rid of the water in there.
Yeah.
Because it was just underneath the floor. So like everything was not inside the tent was wet, but the floor was like just so cold, and it was muddy underneath and disgusting. Like the water still, it doesn't matter, I guess, if you have a floor. You know what I was getting at here? Like, like maybe it'll protect your stuff a little bit if just a river runs through your tent, right? But nonetheless, it's still wet, disgusting underneath. And when it's wet and muddy like that, you're tracking all that mud into your floor.
Yeah.
Like it's in there.
And the majority of floors on all tents will, unless it's like Dyneema or some special fabric, some of the PU coated stuff,
it'll soak through at a certain point.
Yeah, if it gets enough pressure. I mean, you'll see like hydrostatic head is like how they measure that, and that basically just says under enough water pressure, that's when
will go through.
Water's going to soak through. So
like what's a wader? Like, because like around the knees on like a wader, there's so much more pressure that you would think that your body's putting down on something. Like if you kneel onto the ground with into a bog, right, with a wader on, it's like 15,000, you know.
Yeah, but it can
inches,
still wet out. I mean, you can still get water in there.
But then when you're talking about a tent material, nobody's making a tent material that waterproof. Our tent material is very waterproof. 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic head. You still, if it's coated on the ground underneath, and you push your knee into that floor, it's gonna wet out.
Yeah,
you know, and there's just not really a way around that unless it's a complete laminate.
Yeah, unless you have like like your standard blue tarp. Those will keep it out, but that's super heavy. So all right, yeah, no, maybe we'll switch. We won't do seasons. We'll do, because we just covered like some of the smaller ones. Maybe we'll go up to the next tier, size wise.
And we'll kind of give a situation. I'll give you a situation here, right? So we just talked about a guy who's going to go solo most of the time, earlier season, but potentially take 2, right? And that's where the Silex and the Guardian. You can fit 2 in the Silex if you want. I've seen it done. It's not beautiful, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But this is my next situation, right? You're a solo guy, but you don't want to buy 2 tents. You're going to hunt later rifle seasons, and you may have your wife or your dad or like just a hunting buddy come along. We're talking 1 to 2 later season. I think we only have like one choice for me. Well, there's 2. There's 2, but for me, it's a single choice. It's the Cimarron.
Yeah, the other one would be the Twilight.
Oh, Twilight, yes. Well, I take it back. Sometimes I forget how many tents. Yeah, Twilight or the Cimarron that's your go-to right there.
Yeah, that's a classic problem for people. Is like, you know, I got 1, maybe 2, and the Guardian could even fall into there as well.
Yeah, I think you can put the Guardian in there. I think you can talk Guardian, Twilight, Cimarron.
Yeah. Cimarron's kind of, you know, that's our flagship model. But the next tier here is going to be like essentially your Cimarron through 6-person Tipi, right? So this is kind of going to be in that mid-range of Tipi shelters. And this, you're probably the situation that you're talking about, you're probably on the lower end of that, but there's also a lot of guys that are like, oh, 2, maybe 3, maybe I'll have a fourth buddy. You got your one mainstay buddy that you go with, but there's that one flaky guy that is probably, and I always tell people, well, he can always bring his own tent, but
so we're talking 1 to 3 with a stove, later season to early season.
Backpacking in or truck camping. These ones are like, you can
do them all.
Definitely justified.
So we're talking about
camping.
the Cimarron, the Twilight, Redcliff, 6-person teepee.
Yep.
Those are our 4 we're talking about in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So, we've kind of already covered the Cimarron, but Twilight, the Twilight is a shelter that is very different from everything else in the line.
Yeah. Well, number one, it was designed not out of a necessity, but out of a desire to have, I think what you get, like, especially, let's talk like Alaska, right? 1 or 2 dudes going to Alaska. You get stuck in a tent for a day, 2 days, sometimes raining the whole time. You want the most space possible for the least amount of weight. You want an area where you can keep all your stuff dry, spread out gear, 50, 60 pounds of gear each if you wanted to. That's where the Twilight kind of comes in. Like it has so much room. It's like sitting room, not standing room. You can kind of like stand in the back a little bit, but gear room, vestibule, big vestibule on the back, stove right in the middle in the back. Like when you and I used that on the pack rafting trip, like there was more than enough room. You had everything in there.
Yeah. That's a good point, and that's what I tell people too. Is like if you, especially for later season, right here in Colorado, 3rd and 4th season, that's after the daylight savings, and I think it's so clutch to have a comfortable spot in those situations, because I'm not going to bed at 7:30, right?
No.
Like right now during archery season, or even some places in October, like the early rifle seasons.
It's like to like 7, 8 o'clock, 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and then you go to bed at 8, 9 o'clock, and but you don't have a ton of time in that tent, right? Where you're hanging out and like you're awake, and maybe because like when this time of year, it's like you get back, you freaking cook your dinner, and you're
in bed,
retiring.
Yeah.
Later seasons, you got some time to burn, right? And that's when you go into like drying gear, and like you get that stove rolling for a little bit longer.
Play some cards.
Have
a drink.
Yep. Perfect.
Have
and
some time.
That's where that Twilight, because of that extra space in the hangout room, and like I like it because you can maneuver around in there, right? You got your sleeping pad here, but you can kind of maneuver around. Like the Cimarron's is a big tent, but the Twilight you have, it just feels so much bigger.
You can do stuff in the Twilight. So the Twilight is like a long rectangle. The Cimarron's almost more of a square. That long rectangle, you can do stuff up in the front of the tent on the Twilight. Like you can have a whole new zone that is, just dedicated for one thing, right? Instead of in the Cimarron, you have your gear, you have your sleeping area, and then you have the stove. And for 2 people, that's kind of what they have. They have their sleeping area, a little bit of gear. Sleeping area, a little bit of gear. Stove in the middle, some wood.
Yep.
Twilight, you have your sleeping area, you got your gear area. You got places to move around for sure. That being said, we talk about the Twilight being called a 3-person. And this is where our more, I like to call it like our smart consideration of how many people can actually fit in a tent, because we could call it a 5, by back
square footage wise.
Yeah, square footage wise, right? It is bigger than the Cimarron square footage wise. There's more standing room. It's a bigger tent, and it is a little bit heavier. But the Twilight is, you can fit 3 in there with a stove. 2's better.
Yeah, 2's
because
better.
It's only, if it was a double entry, 4 would be fine in there. But 3 with a single entry, just because of the way you enter and exit the tent.
Yeah. It's also an interesting one because there's like, if you want to go minimalist, you can get that thing down to like under 4 pounds, like closer to like, so I think the weight that we have is with the one pole in the back, right? On the Twilight, it's like 4 pounds, 2 ounces.
I'd have to look at the site, but yeah, ends up being a little bit into the 4 pounds, but you can get it about Cimarron weight. So if you go with 2 dudes and you use trekking poles, it's just about what a Cimarron weighs.
And so that's 2 trekking poles in the back with like a hitch or whatever.
With our trekking pole hitch and then 1 trekking pole in the front.
Yep.
That being said, with the Cimarron, you can get the Cimarron quite a bit lighter if you just run trekking poles as well. That's 2 trekking poles with that trekking pole hitch. Really, what the Twilight is a Cimarron with a big vestibule on it.
Yeah.
It's the back, the sleeping area is a Cimarron, and then you have a big old vestibule off the front, which is why it's got so much room.
Yeah. It was, so another thing about the Twilight is it was the first tent that we did the floor liner system on. And the reason why it kind of came about was because we opted to go no sod skirt on it.
Yep. And that's going to help with condensation, more airflow.
And that tent, I feel, maybe it's just because of the times that I've used it, where I've pitched it. Maybe it's just coincidental, but I have never experienced like condensation in that thing. And that's even without the floor liner.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is because that sod skirt and the vestibule there, it's far enough away from your sleeping area where you're not really getting drafts, so you don't notice it. But it allows airflow to go in there.
Yeah.
So it's if you're in an area that just gets a lot of condensation, it's great. And with all the guy outs, I mean,
it's a pretty bomb-proof shelter. Yeah. I mean. Zipperless, so you don't have to worry about a zipper. It's pretty bomber. Definitely, I think a little bit of an underrated tent.
Yeah.
In our lineup, it doesn't maybe get as much love as I would think. You don't want something to kill the Cimarron, right? The Cimarron's awesome, and there's a reason why it exists. It is simple to set up.
Yeah.
The Twilight's going to be a little bit more difficult to set up.
Yeah.
Or a bigger learning curve. Cimarron takes up a smaller spot, all these things, right? Like the Cimarron there's a reason why it's so popular. But the Twilight, for what a lot of guys call in and talk about, that like 1 to 2 person, I want a lot of room. It's almost like the Cimarron's the 2-person hot tent for backpackers, like Cimarron or Guardian, 2-person hot tent for people coming from a more backpacky background, and the Twilight's more of like those guys who want to try lightweight, but they're coming from a more wall tenty, bigger tent background, but they want to shed weight as much as they can.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Like it is about space. It's a big tent. Like it's definitely, my plan was to take one of those up to first rifle, but I think we have a third guy coming along, which brings me into a segue.
Yeah.
Into the Redcliff and 6-person Tipis.
Yes.
So,
next size up.
We say in the Redcliff that it's a 3-person hot tent. The Redcliff's a big tent. It's a nice size tent.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, it's a 4.
It is. It's a 4-person hot tent if you go with the light, especially.
It's a 4-person hot tent. Especially in the light because the stove jack's in a little bit better location. But it's a 4-person hot tent with like your standard amount of gear. You know, if you're going in, you have 30, 40 pounds, 4 people in there. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
And the Redcliff is kind of the first one that I feel like you get out of like it feeling like a true backpacking tent where you have like the space to, I mean, you can stand up in it, right? And
if you're like 6 foot, 6'1", you can stand in right by the pole.
In the Redcliff, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can like change. It's like like the Cimarron. It's 6 foot tall, but you're really, even if you're 6 foot, you're not standing in it. Yeah. And like the Twilight, I was gonna say that is the one downside is that you can't, you have to crawl in just because of the zipperless door. The Redcliff, you just pop that zipper open, you walk right in. So it's kind of the first one where you're like, dang, this is a palace right here.
And I know guys that are like, the guys that are really coming from wall tents, the Redcliff is a 2-person hot tent.
Yeah.
But truly, like, if you're looking at it, if you're more used to backpacking, managing your gear. You don't garage sale when you get to camp. The Redcliff's great.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah.
The 2.0, now we got the 2.0 of both the Cimarron and the Redcliff.
So yeah, both of those have that floor liner system now too.
Yep.
And so every single tent we're talking about, from Cimarron to the 8-person TP, all have a floor liner system.
And now you can run the floor liner and the liner at the same time.
Yes.
Which I'm interested to try this winter season to see if it like just keeps it nice and warm in there. You know, because
I think it's gonna be. I mean, we ran it, but not like true winter camping stuff. I think it's gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah.
It definitely, you end up at a little bit of weight for sure, but that's like a 4-season. The way that's ran, that's a true 4-season tent without a stove.
Yeah,
you have the stove in there, and you have that full double wall everywhere, full floor. Drafts aren't going to be hitting you at all.
No. And like
no condensation.
No condensation. And the cool thing is like that floor liner sits right above the stove line, which like if you've ever used a hot tent, you'll see like, you know, you'll get like frost below where the stove is sitting, just with the heat rising. But I wonder if like now with that extra, because now there's going to be 2 layers of insulation below that stove line now, so it might just keep all that cold air that kind of comes in there out. I don't know.
And you're already cutting out the drafts.
Yeah,
2 ways now with the liner and the floor liner.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be. It's pretty sweet. I will say.
It's a good one.
The floor liners, like if anybody's coming from a background where they need a floor, or they just want something that's going to add a lot of luxury to camp, the floor liner system is the way. I mean, it is. You can run it with a stove with our fire mat, which is a big piece of Kevlar, fireproof Kevlar, basically. Mm-hmm. And that you put your stove on that blocks the heat, radiates it up, and also protects from embers. Like a hot coal can jump out of the stove, land on that fire mat, and not burn through either of them.
Yep. And I will say just about like running the floor liner. Like nowadays, since we came out with them, I feel like there's 2 situations where I take the floor liner. And the number one is when I think it's going to be muddy. Like I think back to that elk trip that we did a few years back in Gunnison.
Terrible. Yeah.
There was like 7 inches of snow on the ground. We camped in an old like parking lot area. It was just all dirt, right? Yeah. So you get the stove going. It was freezing cold, but still.
Yeah. What was it getting to? 10 degrees at night?
Oh yeah. It was brutal. I mean, we both had double sleeping bags.
Yeah.
But you know, you're picking up camp, and like luckily we had some tarps in the back of the truck that we threw down. But you're cleaning everything up, and you get that stove going, and all that snow melts in there. It's just a freaking pit of mud.
Well, not only that, dude. I think way worse than the stove is you get the Bluebird Day in that tent. If you're closing the zipper and everything, it's a greenhouse.
It is.
So even if it's not getting above freezing during the day, it's definitely getting to 40 or 50 degrees inside your tent, which is nice. You know, in the middle of the day, if you're freezing, you go in there and the sun's out, you're warm. But the negative is you're melting the snow, or you get in a freeze-thaw cycle with the mud, snow, ice in there with your stove, with all of that. And that just gets messy.
Oh, it does. Gets brutal.
Yeah. And then like with the floor liner, you can just it line locks in, so you just rip all those line locks off once it's all muddy, and you can just throw it in a panel loading washing machine, or just put it in your bathtub, work all the dirt out, dry it, like just air dry it, boom, good to go, good for your next trip.
Yep.
So I like that, and weight wise, it's not a terrible thing to carry.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're like in that situation, you're probably going 2-3 guys, right?
Yeah.
You break everything down, because I think the Redcliff, even with the floor system and a stove, I mean, you're sitting at like 9-10 pounds somewhere in there, depending on the variety that you go with. You break that, you can split it 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds a person.
Yeah, which is not bad.
So the Redcliff versus 6-person teepee, that's a very common question that we get.
I think as you're going up, like through all these 4 tents we've mentioned, Cimarron, Twilight, Redcliff, and 6-person teepee, you are going heavier each time from Cimarron up. Boy, you're gaining is luxury, right? 6-person teepee, I think truly with gear, you sleep less than the Redcliff. You could. I mean, you can sleep 4 in the 6-person teepee. You could sleep. It's better with 3 in the 6-person teepee.
Yeah.
Just because of the way teepees are shaped. What you gain with the teepee is standing and sitting room. You could put a full-size chair. A couple people could put a full-size chair. You can have a full-size cot in that 6-person teepee.
Yep.
What you're losing, right, is you gaining weight each time you go up. The bigger the tent, the heavier the accessory is, right? A Cimarron floor liner isn't going to weigh the same as a 6-person floor liner. You're going to have more stovepipe. It just ends up being a heavier package, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the 6-person teepee is going to do, like, it's 7.5 foot tall? It's 8 foot tall.
7.5, 7.6, yep.
7.6, yeah. So it's pretty tall. Like, you can stand in there. I'm 6'1". I can touch both sides, but like I have room to stand and walk, which you don't really get in the Redcliff. You have room to walk and then duck.
Yeah.
Right. The 6-person teepee, you walk in, you can open both zippers, walk straight through it, do a little dance in there, whatever you want to.
Yep.
2 cots you can fit.
Yep.
2 full-size cots.
Yeah.
Full-size chairs. It's kind of that's like getting into the teepees is when you start getting into like, all right, now you get a lightweight wall tent.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah. Especially so that, and just so people understand, like the diameter of the 6-person teepee, it's like 15 foot. I
14.
think 14. And then the Redcliff is like what, 1410 or something like that, like across. So they're very,
but it's 10 foot wide. But,
correct. Yeah. So, but the teepee is like a circle. So like you think about like the rectangle and the circle, you're just losing a little bit of that squared action going to the 6-person teepee.
And it's
that's
not,
why.
And you know, the square is a little bit more space efficient, but one thing to be said with the 6-person is, right, you're sleeping people around the perimeter, but that perimeter, you can store gear, right?
Yeah.
Like in those tinier spots where you can't really fit a person, you can fit your gear there, which is pretty nice. You do come in at what, with an aluminum pole, like 6.5 pounds or something.
Yeah. The I think carbon, it's like 5 pounds, 14 ounces, something like
so
that.
You're effectively 1.5 pounds heavier than a Redcliff at that point, but you are gaining that luxury. I mean, it is. I'm 25 years old, and I hear old guys over the phone. They're like, "Man, I just don't want to lay down and put my clothes on." And granted, I've been running these tents for a really long time, but I also don't want to lay on the ground and put my clothes on.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to bring a big tent, like having standing area is really nice. It is really nice.
One is being a certified cot guy now.
Yeah, you are a cot guy.
Which you can do it in the Redcliff, but
you can run 2 full size in the Redcliff, but it's just awkwardly tight.
You get close, and like so, I've taken one out. I think I took one out with my wife. I don't know, a while ago. It was like when we first got our double sleeping bag.
Yeah,
and so we moved the cots together, but it was you're
touching
the end of
spots,
you're getting close to that fabric, and then you get some condensation in there. 6-person teepee, you don't have that issue. So like if you're going with cots, you're just going to be a little bit farther from the sidewalls. I also think, I mean, the Redcliff does great with snow, but in my experience and just like seeing, how people have managed snow, the teepees, I think it's just they're a little bit sharper angles.
Yeah, it does slide down a little bit more. And with the snow load, that's a hard thing to say because if you guy out your tent correctly, like especially the Redcliff, it's really meant to be guyed out on those long ends. Yeah, you get a near vertical wall for that tent or for the snow to slide down. Yeah, but if you're just taking it at a face value of none of them are guyed out, the teepees have a little bit of that sharper angle, which does shed snow. It just slowly starts to like move in on you versus like on the Redcliff it'll start to push and pull a little bit more.
Yeah, the teepee for all of our tents, if you're dealing with snow load, guying out is absolutely essential because especially like on the Redcliff and Cimarron with that little shallower angle there, you know, it's like you said, it builds up, and then that weight, it just adds a little bit more to the carbon poles. We design the carbon poles to break before the tent does. It's easier to replace, but you don't want to, like, you know, we hear of people that take them out, and, you know, outfitters and guides and stuff that leave them out there, which is totally fair. You know, you don't want to take your tent down all the time, but if you get wet snow, heavy wet snow, especially this time of year, that is when we see those tent pole failures, and it's, you know, it's a lot less common if you have it guide out, because you're creating basically close to a 90 degree
area for that snow to go.
Yeah.
And the reason those poles are designed to break, it's number one, it's a lot cheaper to replace a pole than it is to replace a whole tent. It's a lot, especially when you get into like the, you know, some of our bigger tents. It's definitely a lot cheaper.
Yep.
Second thing is, like, not everywhere, right? Like on the north slope of the Brooks Range, there's probably no trees to cut a pole with. But most places people are going to be hunting in the lower 48. They'll have access within a mile of a tree or some kind of branch where they can cut a pole, fashion a pole to work for them for the rest of their trip.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's a 6-person teepee, like we said, floor liner available. You know, stoves for all these, like, I think, with the exception of the smaller tents, I think that SXL is, like, with the exception of the Guardian and Silex, if you go with the SXL, it's going to work for any of these tents. The SXL is kind of like...
It does end up taking up a little bit more room in the Cimarron and the Twilight.
It's like 4 inches.
Yeah, that's a lot. But like the large and SXL for any of those tents, you're gonna heat them fine, and it's gonna be totally good. Like,
yeah, but my point with the SXL is, like, if you ever do want to go, like, you
bigger.
know, start with a Cimarron, and you think you're like, you know, maybe I'll get like a 12 or something for the family later down the line. SXL, it'll heat that 12-person just fine.
Yeah, it will. And all you need to do is buy another pipe. Yep. And you know, we aren't salesmen. I mean, we are. Obviously, what we're doing right now is some level of sales, but we don't want you to just blow all your money, right? Like, a lot of the time, like, solutions that we always offer to people are like, look, you know, it kind of does sound like you're in a 2-tent situation, so let's spec this 1 tent that you're going to buy now so that everything possible to save money into your next tent, right?
Yeah.
You're going to buy a Cimarron, but hey, I might buy an 8-person later, you know, for the family or for big group hunts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get you an SXL. Let's get you your pipe for your Cimarron, but you can, later on, all you got to do is buy a pipe in the tent, and you're just going to move over without having that extra $500 that you got to spend on a new stove.
Yeah. Same with like a Cimarron half nest, right? If you take that half nest instead of a full nest in a Cimarron, you can put that in the 8-person, the 6-person teepee, all that stuff.
Redcliff, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
With that being said, let me walk. Let's talk about the next. This is going to be the middle big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking 3 to 6, right?
3 to 6 people with a stove.
Or maybe we'll just talk 8 and up.
Yeah, probably the next tier would probably be like 8 courthouse and 12.
Yeah, we go. Honestly, probably courthouse 8 are pretty similar in size. 12-person, and then 16.
Yeah,
we'll just roll
save
the
that
16 in there. Yeah. Going on to there, the 8-person is very popular. It is what I consider to be the last easily backpackable tent for 1 or 2 people in our range. If you're trying to be like lightweight, like really lightweight, you know, because the 8-person is 7 pounds
for 1 or 2 people. Maybe, yeah.
Well, I'm saying like this is, you know, designed for the 8-person can sleep 4 people with a stove. But what I'm saying, like, it's
a backpackable tent.
You can split the weight of it and not be like, oh man, this is way too heavy.
Yeah.
Like you can split it between 2 people. You know, it's not splitting it between 4, it's splitting it between 2, and you're like, we can still take this tent.
Yeah.
I know guys that run an 8 solo. So
it's going to take up a lot of space in your pack. You better have a big old pack. But yeah, I mean, definitely for like 2, 3, 4 people, if you're backpacking, it's great. But then it also transitions into being an awesome car camping setup.
Yeah.
I mean, you can like you use that thing as like your cook tent if you want. You can use it. It's a very
Well, it stands at 8.5 feet.
8'6". Yep.
Yeah, 8.5 feet tall. So now, 6 person, you got walking room. The 8 person, you got dancing room. There's a lot of room in there.
Yeah.
A lot of height. On top of that, you got a lot more sitting room, more room for the cots. Even though the diameter is only 2 foot wider, it feels so much bigger.
Yeah, it's because it's like it's like a bigger radius.
It's exponential in the teepees. Like you go from the 8 to the 12. The 12 is 3 foot larger in diameter, another foot taller. But man, it feels like twice the tent somehow.
I remember hearing when I first started working here that every step up has the like double the amount of standing space.
Yeah.
I think
effectively.
I remember that.
Yeah,
correct.
it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So 6 to 8, is quite a larger tent at a very minimal weight penalty. We're talking with the carbon pole, you're right under 7 pounds. Still same thing. This is the last one that's going to get our floor liner system. It's got a full half screen room. This is like a really good, I consider the 8 person, good for 3 to 4 people with a stove. You can do 2 cots in there with ease. 2 full-size cots. You can do full-size chairs. Like if you're just setting it up by your truck or backpacking it in, it's a really versatile tent if you're always going to be splitting it between 2 to 3 guys,
Yeah.
Like it is like super nice to have. I mean, you'll see, I think Stephen Rennell's he's got a 6 or an 8 person. I think he's got a 6 person, but the teepees are badass. The teepees are cool.
Yeah.
The room is nice.
And the 8 person, both the 6 and the 8, the kind of one of the cool things about them is they have the ability to what we call flex pitch.
Yep.
Which is basically if you get into a spot, like one of the people that we have worked with previously rent outdoor gear. They're based out of Idaho up there. I've hunted Idaho. They outfit a lot of people for the Frank Church, which is known for having these just long, skinny ridges, and that's where you find that's where you're pitching your tent.
Yeah.
And hopefully you find a saddle that you can pitch that thing on. Well, the 6 and 8 person teepee, maybe you don't know where you're going to be setting this thing up, and you can't find a spot that's big enough for the 15 foot 10 diameter of the 8 person. Well, you pitch it with the upper guy out points. Shrink that thing down, it turns into a 6 person.
Yep. So you're at a 14 foot diameter, and the 6 person turns into a model we don't make anymore, but the 4 person teepee. It's not recommended for like the most gnarly weather because you're losing your guy out points. But in a pinch, that's why we have it. If you're like, man, there's not a space. If only my tent was 2-3 foot smaller. Yeah. Then boom, there you go.
Yep. And it's, the 8 person that's got to be one of our longest running models, right?
Yeah, I think it was either the 6 or the 8 was our first.
Yeah.
I want to say. So, and it's seen changes. One of the cool things we get to do is an American-made company where the gals down there are working on tents. Like literally just below the office here is if we see something that we think can be upgraded or there's an issue, it's something that we change in line. Some years the product get 2 tiny changes that just improve it year after year after year. So an 8 person from 2015 is not even the same tent as an 8 person from 2025. Correct. Even 5 years ago. Yeah, very, very different shelters. Just continuing on that to make it a better shelter year after year.
Yeah. I do want to say one other thing with the teepees, just relating to like pitch and everything. There's a few different ways. I've found that the best, most foolproof way to pitch your teepee properly, if you're not running the floor liner. If you have the floor liner, you just pitch that thing and then you put the tent on top of it. It's perfect every time. If you're not doing that, there's a couple different ways. Number one, the way I like is doing like the figure 4 or the diamond, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a video on
the setback with the diamond.
Yep. And I like that because you basically set your 2 doors and then 2 sides. So you have 4 stakeout points. You put your pole in and you can see like those seams if they're going to have witch hatting or not, right? Because if you're pitching them on uneven ground, you might have to adjust the stakeout points due to that. But the other ways are you can cut like a piece of cordage, set the tent up
for the radius or the diameter.
Yep.
You can always leave it in your tent too, which is cool. Like if you're like, all right, the diameter is 16 foot on the 8 person, cut a 16-foot piece of cord, tie it to the ends, pull those out, boom. Then you just stake out the rest of the shelter.
Yes, but the thing I want to say about that is you want to make sure to set your tent up perfectly before you cut that thing, because like it says 1510 on there. Sometimes there's a little tiny variance there that could, that can change the way it pitches. So set it up, get it perfect, and then cut that cordage and take it out with you.
Yeah, and my favorite way to set up the teepees, personally, like especially if you have wind, if any of you have set up a teepee in the wind, it can be a little bit of a challenge, is I'll do the diamond that we were just talking about, doing the rectangle square where you stake out, you do the setback, boom, doom, pitch your sides. Don't put the pole in yet, though, because at this point, if it's windy, you put the pole in, you only have 4 stakes effectively holding a parachute.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll go around and just, now that I know my tension, and I'm pretty good at setting up teepees as well, but now I'll just start to stake out that teepee shape down at the bottom. Now when I go to put the pole in, I have at least, 10 stakes in the shelter. I'm putting the pole in, and the tent isn't going to get blown around. Like, you can leave it like that, go finish your pitch.
Good idea.
And that method works pretty well on most surfaces. Like, even if it's a little uneven, you may have to make some adjustments after you get it in, but usually it's only a stake or 2, as long as you've done it right.
Yeah. And with when you are pitching them like in super rocky terrain and stuff like that, it's just essential that you always set up, use your, you get usually some twisted stakes and some non-twisted stakes in your stake kit. Use those twisted stakes for the doors, for the main seams, because that's where the bulk of the strength of the shelter is going to come from. So just make sure you're, when you're setting it up, using those things there. And typically, like with the guy outs, you don't have to use every single one to get more headroom in there. If you use 2 or 3 on each side, you're gonna get all the benefits of those guy out points.
You don't need to crank every single one unless you just need the utmost of stability and wind and weather. But just to get the space out, you only need to use half of them, or maybe even less.
Yeah.
Moving on to the courthouse, so that's going to be our next size up in that range. Courthouse, we call it a 3P with cots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 10 or 11 by 12. It's a rectangle shape again, but this is a true wall tent. It's 2 poles, tall. It's about is it as tall as the 8-man? Pretty close, right?
Yeah, it uses 8-man poles. I think it's like 8.6 or maybe 9 foot. But yeah,
it's like, anyways, you're getting
and the front is a little bit shorter than the back.
Yeah, you're getting a full wall tent. This guy comes in at 13 pounds.
Yep, 13 pounds.
13 pounds. That's 2 aluminum poles and 30 stakes.
Bunch of stakes and cordage,
and cordage and all that stuff. So that's your full shelter. Comparing that to canvas wall tents, in so much lighter.
Lighter, easier to set up.
Yeah, I mean it's one of Ryan's favorite tents. It's definitely one of my favorites, like for just base camp stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's easy to set up. It does not take up any room. That's the amazing thing, right? If you aren't worried about weight and you need something to pitch in a tight area, like the courthouse is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's close to like a Redcliff.
It's actually way closer to a Cimarron in actual floor space than it is a Redcliff.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So you have your guy outs. Those are pulling the walls completely straight. So another great thing with the courthouse is it does the best in snow out of all of our shelter because of those straight vertical walls.
Yeah.
Sheds the snow really well.
Yeah. And deals with wind like very freaking well.
It does really well for its shape.
For a wall tent that's made out of sil nylon.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I've up in Wyoming a couple years ago for our spring bear hunt, we were getting 50 mile an hour gusts is what we saw on there. And the only thing that happened was I stupidly didn't put the carbon pole in all the way into the rod pocket, and it kind of like slipped out and popped a hole in that ridge line. Totally user error. You got to make sure that you put those poles, because it wasn't even in the cone. It was like hitting the actual tent fabric.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it was like, it was shocking how well it did. Cause you just think like it's got that one big flat side, right? And if you have that facing towards the wind, it's just, you think of it as like you said, a parachute, but it does very well in the wind.
Yeah. It is, while it does really well, all of our tents do incredibly well in the wind, just due to their shape and strength of the material we use and all the fun stuff. You know, I could go on forever about that, but the courthouse will be the worst.
Yeah.
It will be the worst out of all of them. That being said, it's not bad. It's going to whip around more comparatively to a teepee shaped shelter, where that wind moves around the shelter kind of forms to the wind, versus the courthouses. It's just a brick, man. It's a brick in the wind. But it is a really cool tent. 3 with cots, easily. 4, I think 4 is pretty reasonable to say without cots if you're sleeping on the ground, right?
Definitely.
You could do 5, but you really kind of want to keep your hallway, so your center spot, open for people to walk in and out.
Yeah.
The cool thing is when you're running it with cots or full size cots, all your storage is underneath your cot anyways. So it ends up, you have tons of room in there. You can put a little table, cooking in there. I mean, it's pretty badass.
It is. And it's got the big triangle vent in the back, so it's actually pretty dang good with condensation.
It's got a
make a liner, but
it's got a liner as well. Yeah, the liner's a really nice thing to have if you're going in a later season or you're in a more moist environment.
The big thing about the courthouse is you can set it up, especially if you have 2 guys and you know how to set it up. You set it up in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't really take
compared
long.
to other wall tents. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, and like you have a freaking RV. It takes 10 minutes to set up.
Campers,
campers, all that stuff. So it's very quick to set up, and easy to set up too. It's kind of 4 corners, and it's hard to get a bad pitch. Like some of the teepees, if you stretch the stakes out too wide, it's going to be a witch hat, or vice versa. You pitch them too skinny,
and the panels aren't going to fit correctly.
Going to get some sag there. Courthouse, it's got the guy outs. You're good to go. It masks a lot of stuff.
It is pretty easy, especially with those guy outs. Yeah, if you're on uneven terrain and stuff with the courthouse, you can really pull it together if you pitch it like crap.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Another cool thing about the courthouse is you can save, what is that? 8 pole save. Is it 10 ounces?
Yeah, it's 11 ounces per.
11 ounces. You can save 22 ounces off of the courthouse if you go carbon. You can upgrade those separately on the site. It's not on the actual courthouse, but if you want to go with the carbon poles, you can get the courthouse pretty close to 10 pounds, which it's not bad.
No, it's not. And like one of the
you don't need to take all of the stakes. You don't need as much cordage as we send. You can drop the weight down. It's also got a built-in screen door, which is cool for summer stuff as well.
Yeah, it's it's definitely a very backpackable shelter if you drop it down with the aluminum poles upgrade there. But even if you want to take it in the car, right? Like we don't have a floor for it, but what I take out is I have a canvas, painter's tarp is what they call it. It's perfect size for that. That thing you can even backpack with if you really wanted to. I mean, it's heavy. It's going to be like 3-4 pounds, but I mean, if you have enough guys, or like especially for people that are horse packing, like they love that courthouse because they love the wall tent style. Maybe they're bringing some cots up there, some ultralight cots. They want a lot of space. They want standing room, but they also want something that's, instead of taking up 2 or 3 horses with a big old wall tent and a potbelly stove, you're taking up, half of a pannier with with the stove and the tent there. So,
well, dude, it's nice. Like, I mean, you look at like some of the like Kodiak canvas tents, any canvas tent that you may set up that's kind of that wall tent shape or something like that. Even putting in your car, like I drive effectively what is a 4Runner. It's a Lexus GX, but you don't have like a ton of cargo room in there, especially put a cooler in there, all that stuff. Yeah, the courthouse takes up, if you pack it up right, the size of a basketball with the stakes and the poles and stuff.
Yeah, very similar to an 8-man.
Yeah, and you just pitch it right wherever you want. So if you're gonna stay somewhere for a day or two, courthouse is epic.
That's great.
With cots and everything. Like your cot is likely gonna be taking up more space than your whole shelter is.
Yeah, it's gonna be way heavier. That's for sure. Yeah, no, it's a great one. That's my favorite. The world's lightest wall tent. I mean, we did some research before making that claim, but it is the lightest wall tent in the world. So
yeah, we ain't just going best burger in town out of
no. Yeah. 12 and 16. So these are, because we should probably
wrap it up a little.
It's been a long podcast, but
podcast. Well, you guys like listening to us talk, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's got 5 views. 12 and 16. Yeah, we can just wrap this up pretty quick. Same thing as the teepees. We kind of touched on it earlier. Standing room, insane. I think the 16-person teepee is something like 360 square foot.
Yeah, it's like literally you're better off making payments on that and then getting an apartment in Manhattan.
It's the same cost as a month of rent for that size of apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's a huge tent. I've camped in a 16 quite a few times, mostly in like desert scenarios, which is funny, but man, huge. Huge. It surprisingly takes wind well. What does it weigh? 13.5 pounds?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more than the courthouse, if I remember correctly.
Huge. I mean, if you, like out west, at least here, like there's plenty of spots you can find to throw a 16 up. Big meadows, that kind of stuff. But it is a huge tent. It's got a giant footprint. I think it's 21 feet of diameter, I'm pretty sure. I just made an email about this, so that's why I know, actually. It's 21 foot in diameter. Huge. Almost 10.5 feet tall. I think 10 foot tall, 10.5 feet tall.
Yep.
You can walk. You can have
9.6. Yeah, 10.6.
Yeah.
They go up 1 foot per tent.
You can have 8 people in there standing, having a conversation, shaking hands, business meeting in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with a stove.
Yeah.
You can have tons of chairs. You'll throw up some photos from that thing we did at the winery. Like you should just throw that up at the 16. It is bigger than a photo could ever show. You could probably park a Prius in there. It's awesome. And for the weight, again, that's more of a big base camp or horse hunting thing, but you just can't beat it.
You're probably not going to be able to throw it up in a campground tent pad.
No,
it's too big for that. But
no, it's big. Yeah,
and like that's the only time I've been in one is we'll take them for events, like we'll take them for rendezvous. It's a giant tent.
When I was in college, I had a lot more friends, so I actually used the 16 person a lot. I don't have 16 friends though, but man, we took one for 4. Talk about the we we took one for 4 people. I had like 3 sand mats. We took it down to Sedona, and dude, just luxury living in there.
Luxury living.
Oh man, I had a cot, full garage sale everywhere. It literally is bigger than the room we're in.
Yeah,
or as big. It's
probably
huge.
Probably.
12 person, very similar thing. 12 person's going to be 19 foot in diameter, nearly. So 3 foot bigger than the 8 person. It's going to be 9'6" in height. I think it's like 260 square foot. Still really big, but definitely more manageable as far as like areas to pitch than the 16 man. It's going to do better in weather. Like the 16 man is quite large. So the 12 is going to do a little bit better in weather. Just there's less material between the pole and the stakes, right? it's not much lighter, half a pound maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Once it gets up to these two, I kind of just lump them all in the same.
Yeah, like courthouse 12, 16, you're carrying weight.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so like the 8-person, 3 cots, 3 full-size cots. 12-person, 4.
The eight we say 2.
Well, no, in that video we have 3.
But on the website, 2 with a stove. It's 2 cots with a stove.
You can definitely fit 3 cots in there.
Ryan's a hating.
I mean, in that video, that comparison video, we had 3 cots in there.
In the 8?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
3, 4, and then 5. Yeah.
But you can do 6 and a 16.
Yeah.
12, 4. And the 8, I think 2 with a stove. I think you're pushing it with 3, but that's
for you to
opinionated.
decide.
Yeah, for you to decide.
I've done 3 cots and a stove in there down in New Mexico.
Really?
Is what we did. Yeah.
Nice.
Either way.
Yeah.
What I was saying before I got rudely interrupted there was either way, like once you get up to these bigger ones, it's really just a matter of like looking at the square footage, deciding what you need. I mean, with these ones, you have to kind of know that you have a spot that you're going to be able to set it up, big meadow, something like that. There's minimal accessories. They have liners, but no floors or anything like that.
For the 12 and 16 in courthouse. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And so it's more just about like these are kind of the ones that like if you know what you need, you're probably going one of these, right? Whereas like the smaller tents, you can get more into the nuance of size and like what exactly you need and
purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like after the 8-person, I feel like when you get a lot of people calling in, right? Because we're so front facing with customers, like we are talking to them all the time. The 8 and 12 are the 6 and 8. A lot of people are like in between 6 and 8, or like Redcliff and 8-person.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those shelters, and then a lot of people are in between 8 and 12. When it comes down to 12 and 16, it's like, do you know you can set it up somewhere? Like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
do you know you need that much room? That's kind of your answer.
Do you know that you can fit it in your horse bag or
I think between the 8 and 12, you get a lot more people. Like you're like, well, I have 4, maybe take 5 people. Like I have a family. I want people to be able to grow into it. I want my kids to be able to like grow. They're right now maybe they're 6 years old. They fit into any tent, but when they're 16. You're going to need that 12-person. You don't want to buy twice.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people comparing those and then the 8 versus some of the smaller ones. But, yeah.
Yeah. And, you're looking at probably like the Big Mama stove, like, or
XO.
Some people take like, for these bigger ones, they'll get like a big old outfitter stove, something like that, cast iron.
Our stove jacks do accommodate up to a 5-inch pipe on those bigger tents, or 4.5 is probably the safer bet, but you can do 5.
You basically just extend the incisions. So basically
just
it's
cut
like
it a little bit.
Crosshairs up there. You just extend those and that's how you can get to 5 inches,
and
4.5.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to, you can go with a bigger stove, like if you want to. Like our Big Mama is pretty nice size for those.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're already taking a 16-person teepee and you can afford a little bit bigger stove, some people don't choose ours. Ours are designed to be backpackable. They are made out of titanium, so some people go for other stuff. I think it's like, I've seen a lot of those like Colorado stoves.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people use those.
We'll endorse them. They're a Colorado company.
Yeah, Colorado company.
Props to them.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else really to hit on?
I don't think so. I mean, that's kind of the deep dive. I think next time we're going to go over some more like tips and tricks, and then maybe talk some backpack stuff as well. I guess, we got the holiday season. I find for me, like after hunting season, after I go on my trips, that's when I'm looking to upgrade for the next year. So that's why we're doing this now.
Yeah. Because
it takes a while to do your research to figure out what exactly you want. So that's why we're doing this now. And, but yeah, I mean, we basically covered every single tent.
Yeah.
In there.
Mean, there's one new one that's coming out.
Yeah.
It's going to be courthouse styled. If you look back at old podcasts, or like a couple of episodes ago, you'll see some more teasers on that, but we're going to do something on that when that comes out. We'll do a whole deep dive podcast into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have an option that can fit almost anyone if you're willing to try a Tipi style shelter.
Yeah. Yep. And if you don't have, or if you still have questions after watching this, or you just want to talk a little bit more, feel free to give us a shout. 970-208-8108. That's the customer service line. If you're in the area, this is the time of year where we get a lot of people coming through here and
stop by the shop.
Yeah, say what's up.
When you have a 66% chance of getting either me or Ryan on the phone if you call, or you'll get Connor. So sorry.
Yeah, just ask to transfer.
Yeah, no, it actually don't. But yeah. I mean, that's about it. Hot tents are, if you've never slept in one, when you sleep in one, you'll understand the hype.
Yeah,
you'll understand what it's about. It really opens up. Not only as a hunter, right? Like as a hunter, it's a great tool to where traditionally, if you were in just a normal shelter and you got wet and it just was nasty weather for a few days, a lot of snow came down, you're going to want to go out, or you're going to just be really miserable for a few days. Versus the hot tent really transforms your hunt into, you can stay out longer, happier, drier, more entertained at night on those really dark days.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a survival, like if you get into a situation, back in the backcountry where it's cold, wet, you're wet, you fell into a river, you have a way to get a fire going in an enclosed space and have it. If you really get one of our stoves cooking in like 15, 20 degrees, it could be 90 plus.
Yeah, we have that. We've run an ad. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we literally got the hot tent going, and it was 29 degrees outside, 83 inside. And that was like
10 minutes?
Within 10 minutes of getting the fire going with it wasn't even good wood. It was just pine. Yeah. So I think there's a couple reasons why you should consider a hot tent. Number one, why you said, those reasons, but like people that are looking to extend their hunting season, that maybe that, they're kind of limited with just the gear that they have to those earlier seasons, or also people that are coming from like a tent trailer or something like that, but they want to be a little bit more, or like a camper, they want to be a little bit more modular. That's what those upper, 12, 16 person shelters.
Yeah, be lighter. It's, like you can tow around a camper all you want, and you're going to get 10 miles a gallon in your truck if you don't own a diesel truck. Or you can take out your SUV with a Tipi in it and have a very similar experience with a stove. Be warm, dry. Like you're going to give up some things, but you're gaining the ability to not have to tow something. You're gaining better gas mileage. You're gaining like Tipis aren't only for hunting or only for backpacking. Like skiing, like car camping. You would be amazed how much Tipis are used for car camping, just because I sold my trailer. Yeah. It'd be to just be with the Tipi.
Yeah, and if you got like a van, right? If you're traveling, rolling around the country in a van.
Supplemental.
A lot of the times, that is a kind of a more summer thing. You go down south in the winter. Well, if you have a 8-person Tipi, you can use that as your area to cook, to hang out in, to stay warm in, and then you just go sleep in the van. It takes up a lot less space than a lot of those van accessories do. You throw that thing in one of the cabinets and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So there's lots of reasons to consider them. And it, like I think the big thing is, if you talk to anybody, like our number one sales, like we can spend thousands of bucks on advertising on Facebook or Google or whatever. People that influence for us and all that stuff. There's nothing as effective as like when we get the guys that call in and they're like, yeah, my buddy had one. Give me exactly what he had, because they had an experience where they were hunting, Montana in November, and they're used to either having to stay by the truck with the camper and the warmth, or they were staying in a little coffin,
suffering.
They go to a hot tent, and it just changes their world, right? And it's not even just us. We're not the only company that makes them, but I think hands down, hot tents for hunting have changed the freaking game. They really have.
They have, yeah.
So,
And, all that in mind, it is not a replacement for a sleeping bag.
correct.
It is
Correct.
not a replacement for proper safety procedures.
Mm-hmm.
It is a supplemental thing.
Yep.
But with all that being said, it is
Pretty awesome.
pretty epic. Yeah. I mean, if I always tell people as a joke, just make sure your buddy has a really shitty sleeping bag when you go out.
So that he's the one that is putting the wood in the stove.
Yep. All night. Well,
Yeah.
our battery's about to die, so let's
It
wrap
is.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. And like we said, if you have any other questions, hit us up, drop them in the comments, and enjoy. Hopefully you guys can get out there this year.
Peace.